Welcome to the ultimate jump. Confidence is at maximum. Here we go. Can he clear the chair?
It all started with a fail video. A guy tried jumping over a chair. He missed the chair completely, but somehow still hit the bush. The chair survived. His dignity didn't. I laughed, and without thinking, I said, "Dang. Aura loss." Big mistake, because my mom heard me. She slowly looked up from her coffee. Aura loss? I froze. Then my dad lowered his newspaper, which is never a good sign.
I'm Ramasian Cameland.
How much did he lose? I blinked. What? How much aura did he lose? I stared at both of them. Mom looked concerned. Dad looked interested. The investigation had already begun. It's not money. Dad nodded. Okay. Mom nodded too. Then it's cryptocurrency. No. Insurance? No. A subscription service? No. I took a deep breath. Aura is basically how cool someone seems. Confidence, presence, vibes. Mom.
Wow, that is a massive aura loss.
Did you just say aura loss?
Mom nodded slowly. Dad nodded slowly. The way people nod when they understand absolutely nothing. Then Dad asked the worst question possible. How much aura do I have? And just like that, everything went downhill.
Behold, the ultimate measure of standing. The Aura Leaderboard.
Dad stood up immediately. Rate me. What? How much aura? I don't know. Estimate. Dad loves estimates. I looked at him. Maybe 30? Dad smiled proudly. Mom started laughing. Dad ignored her. Then he grabbed a marker, walked over to the whiteboard, and wrote, Aura Leaderboard. Mom, Dad, me. I looked at the board. Why am I last? Dad shrugged. Skill issue. Mom laughed again. Plus 20 aura, at least according to Dad. Then something strange happened. Mom started winning, without even trying. She remembered the plumber's name from 4 years ago. Plus 50 aura. She fixed the Wi-Fi. Plus 100 aura.
She actually did it in one trip.
She carried every grocery bag in one trip. Plus 200 aura. Dad stared at her. This game is rigged. Meanwhile, I had exactly 0 aura, which honestly felt unfair, but also kind of accurate. Dad looked at the board, then at Mom, then back at the board. I could actually see the dangerous idea forming in his brain. If Mom can gain aura. He adjusted his glasses. So can I. And that's
She
when
actually
things
did it
got
in one
really
trip.
bad.
Huh?
The next morning, Dad walked into the kitchen wearing sunglasses, indoors, at breakfast. Aura, he whispered. I looked at him. Dad. No. He ignored me. Then he started walking in slow motion through the kitchen for absolutely no reason. Mom almost choked on her coffee. Dad pointed at himself. Do I have aura now? No. He kept trying. He watched 3 motivational reels and immediately became a life coach. Winners wake up at 5. It's 11 at night. Preparation. At one point, Dad pointed at a mango and said, That mango respects me. Nobody knew what that meant. Not even Dad. He tried finger guns. Aura loss. He tried a cool pose. Aura loss. He tried calling Mom bro. Critical aura loss. Mom nearly fell off her chair laughing. Meanwhile, Mom kept gaining aura accidentally, helping neighbors, remembering birthdays, being nice to people, basically existing. Dad became desperate. This was no longer a competition. This was survival. Finally, Dad snapped. How does she keep winning? I looked at him. Because she's not trying. The room went quiet. Dad blinked. Mom smiled. Dad blinked again. I could practically hear the loading wheel spinning above his head. That evening, Dad sat on the couch, defeated.
She actually did it in one trip.
The sunglasses were gone. The motivational era was over. The aura farming experiment had failed. Mom handed him a cup of coffee. We sat there quietly for almost 10 whole seconds. Then Dad spoke. So let me get this straight. I nodded. The more you try to look cool, I nodded again. The less cool you become. Pretty much. Dad took a slow sip. That is the dumbest system I have ever heard. I know. Mom laughed. It actually makes sense. I looked at her. How? Mom shrugged. People who are actually cool don't spend all day proving it. Silence. Dad looked at Mom. I looked at Mom. Mom casually drank her coffee, completely unaware she had just dropped the hardest line of the episode. Dad sighed. So, basically, he looked at me. I've been aura farming. Yes. Aggressively. Very aggressively. Mom smiled. Industrial scale farming. For the first time all day, Dad laughed. Everything finally felt normal again for about 5 seconds. Then Mom asked, "Okay." I immediately knew. Mom looked at me. "What's RIZZ?" I froze. Across the room. Dad slowly smiled, walked over to a drawer, pulled out a fresh notebook, opened the first page, picked up a marker, and wrote, Operation RIZZ. I seriously considered moving to another country. To be continued.